Hello everyone and welcome to Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. Did I get that right? Yes. Caught that. I've been waiting for this for so long, since anyone who watched my Dauntless series knows that I was I wanted this game to come out so bad, and it finally did, and here we are. So, we are going to hunt every monster there is. There's a lot different, and we'll get into it as we go. So, I've already done some of these quests before, I will readily admit. This is the second time I've tried to do this episode. I had some technical difficulties. So, here we are again! But, I know a little bit better what to do this time. So, let's explain a few things that are unique to Monster Hunter Generations and Generations Ultimate. Okay, sorry. I had to be quiet to edit out the loading screen. Some things unique to Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate are hunting styles. So, for example, I'm using the brand new Valor style, and it centers around going into sheath stance, which drains stamina very quickly and slowly drains health. But while you're doing that, if you get attacked, at least if you get attacked from the front, you will perfect dodge. I think no matter what. I'm not sure, I haven't tested it out very much. But it lets you fill this gauge that's over my name, and once it's filled, you go into Valor stance, and you gain access to a whole bunch more abilities. And striking consecutively while in Valor stance increases the damage you do. The other thing that is unique about hunting styles. There we go. Affect your moveset. So, like, for example, I still have this. This is the normal sword and shield combo, and then that works that way if you stand. It goes to this if you don't. But there's usually a round slash after those abilities, and you can also usually round slash out of any combo. You can't do that in Valor style, it's limited. You also can't backpedal after a strike. Normally if you hold back and you press A, you will backpedal, and then you can do various different things. But you can't do that in Valor style, but you get an ability to compensate for that if you're in Valor mode. Now, unfortunately, because this is me doing this monster over again, you won't get to see the intro for it. This is a great Maccao. He likes to use his tail to give him leverage to jump. So, one of the things that you want to do whenever you're hunting a great Maccao is you want to break his head. So that's the perfect dodge. I think in the game it's actually called Shrug Off. So it takes longer to sheath in Valor hunting style, but it's not a big deal. Oops, I forgot I can't perfect dodge if my weapon's already put away. But this gauge that you see at the bottom of my screen that says round force 1, ow. That was not what I wanted my buttons to do, I will readily admit. That's my Hunter art that I have equipped, and once it fills up I'll show you what it does. The Hunter arts are basically special moves that you can do once they're ready. Ow! Another thing handy about Sword and Shield is you can use items once the shield out still. Other weapons you have to put it away in order to use items. this is round force. It hits a wide area. Hitting multiple times. Also dodge any attacks that the enemy does perfectly whenever you do round force. So right now the monster is, I think he's technically enraged, it might be a light rage, but he's puffing at the mouth more than he... Whenever you can see the monster's breath, they're normally in their rage state. There's other indicators for different monsters. Oof. Ow. I use up all my first aid med? Yeah, I sure did. We're gonna bank on Zelda using her health horn. So that's the move we get from Valor Stance. Or style. No, Valor Stance. I said it correctly. Pop a Mega Potion, heal ourselves right up. The Sword and Shield that we are currently using is the Petrified Sword and Shield. Sword and Shields are low raw damage, but typically medium elemental damage weapons. Basically what you want to do when you're using a Sword and Shield is you want to use the monster's elemental weaknesses against them, so that you deal bonus damage. That's our armor skill kicking in. I gotta look at what those follow-ups are after we do the, Okay, so now the monster is limping, which means that he's close to death. Earlier the monster was salivating, that means that he's hungry. He's running low on energy, he's going to be sluggish. And attack less often. I like to stay very mobile. Actually, he's salivating right now. I like to stay very mobile, which is why I like the Sword and Shield so much, because you can dodge out as effectively in combo with the Sword and Shield. I am going to break your face. It's not even rude, I'm literally going to break your face. Ow, assuming I don't go down. I'm going to have to implement a down counter. I will say right now, I firmly believe that you should never give up on a hunt. So for example, I can abort mission whenever I want, and dang, I didn't break his head. So there's an abandoned quest button right there. And I can use that to leave a quest, and I'll get all of the items that I used in the quest back. But if I do that, then I feel cheap. So unless it's like this big, I will almost always lose if I die twice, rather than quit. So like, you have 3 allowances to We technically have 2 allowances to die. You could die the first time and keep going. You could die the second time and keep going. If you die a third time, you'll technically die. If you die a third time, you get kicked from the quest. There's no reward left, so there's no point. I'm clearly not prepared. I will typically stay through all 3 losses. Most people will die twice and then leave so that they get all their items that they lost back. But I feel like more often than not, if I stay and I actually keep going, I win anyway. Especially against Elder Dragons. So it's always best to just never give up. That's my policy. That was a bigger one than last time. And the best part is if I go down, I'll just cut to when I'm back at the monster. I won't be reading dialogue because we're here to hunt monsters, not read NPC dialogue. Okay, so that's 1 monster off the list. Actually, before I go on to another one, we need a new set of armor. But we don't have the materials. We need Laranoth hide, some more parts from Big Green, etc., etc. The weapons and armor that we're rocking will bring us pretty far if we upgrade them, in all honesty. Because when you're in low rank, it's not really about weapon skills so much as it's about it's not so much about weapons or armor skills as much as it is about defense rating. And you'll be focusing more on armor skills when you get into high rank and G rank. G rank especially, you want to get the perfect set of armor skills. Just make a whole bunch of other versions and a whole bunch of versions. Ooh, they increased the speed at which you make those. I like it. So we're going to the desert. Another cutscene that you're not going to get, unfortunately, because the last recording was just... I put on a setting that I only realized afterwards that I shouldn't have. We are mostly going to be... So if you're in the desert, I'm sorry, my brain's all over the place. I'm so excited to just be playing this game, and then there's a lot to cover. But if you're in the desert, you need a cold drink. It's just how it is. There are areas on the map where if you don't have a cold drink, you'll start taking heat damage, and it'll lower your health over time. So it's 2 and 7 are the primary locations where you'll take damage if you are not using the cold drink. It's not as bad in the desert as it is in the volcanic regions. Those typically have a lot more areas where you'll get hurt if you don't have a cold drink. Sword and Shield. I'm gonna lose my train of thought so many times. So we're primarily going to use Sword and Shield because it's my favorite weapon. It's my favorite weapon of choice. But if I deem it necessary, like if we're fighting a really tall monster, our Sword and Shield's only going to be able to scrape their ankles. Oh right, I need to actually turn the target cam on. That might help. I'm sat here trying to mash the target cam button and it's not working. Like, excuse me? We will likely also try out things like, Charge Blade, Switch Axe is one of my favorites. I'm terrible at greatsword. I can't play greatsword. Also, I can't play lance. I can play gun lance to a certain extent. Here comes pain. I'm a bit of a sloppy hunter, but I'm good. It's just, I'm a bit out of practice. If you give me a little bit, I'll get back into the swing of things. Ah, oh man, that hurts. You won't be able to reach me. Okay, no, he's enraged. That would explain why he's so quick. I wasn't even paying attention. So, a bit about this monster. This is a Gendrome. A drone is older and alpha. It is an older version of a smaller species of monster. And it is typically the alpha. So, a Gendrome is the alpha of the Gendrome. Oh, my weapon's so broken. So, because my weapon's sharpness is low, my weapon is bouncing occasionally whenever I strike the monster. Now it's very broken. My playstyle in Monster Hunter, especially when I'm using my sword and shield, is effectively just a relentless assault of blows. That's not the right button. This is the right button. Now let's sharpen up. If you've played Monster Hunter World, but you've never played another Monster Hunter title, you actually have to collect whetstones in this. You don't just get one multi-use one, and it is not guaranteed to put your sharpness up to full. Especially these mini whetstones that I was using, they offer very little amounts of sharpness. But they're typically sufficient. At low rank. You get the item box whenever you're hunting in low rank. You don't get that whenever you move on to high rank. Or more accurately. Okay, I need to change some settings. Nope, nope. Holy cow. Oh no. Okay. Now you see, you can't move while you're sheathing if you're using Valor stance, or Valor style. I'm not keeping track of how many times I go down unless it's a quest failure, someone else can handle that. I don't have any fans to do it yet, but someone out there can do it. I don't have any fans yet. But maybe one day. So we completed the subquest, so we got some more rewards. My cats are hurt, so you can use this bed in the camp at any time to fully recover your HP and your cats if you're playing solo. Also, I forgot to mention this, we are likely never going to do multiplayer hunts in this, because none of my friends are going to play this with me because they're stuck up in Monster Hunter World, which I don't enjoy that much. I don't know why. I think it's just too simplified for me. And, hunting with pugs. It's just not one of my favorite things to do unless I absolutely have to. And I do not have to. I am good enough to not need it. Sloppy as heck. But I'm good. So we just performed a mount. So every time that we did a strike in midair on the monster and it did that vertical light effect, that's a mounting strike. And when a monster takes enough of those, they're mounted. Did we break his head? No, there we go. Yep, he's limping. You can normally move when you sheath, but you can't do that in, whoops! You cannot do that in Valor Stance. It takes some getting used to. I'm new to Valor Stance. I've never used it before. I used Adept Stance more often than not in Generations, which I have played before. We're not going to talk about what they were doing. Oh, he didn't actually get to sleep. I'm trying to build my Valor gauge. There we go. So he's currently enraged, so his attacks faster are probably this already. I'll explain it this way. This is what it looks like when a Gendrome is enraged. There he goes. This is what a Gendrome looks like when he's dead. But when he's puffing at the mouth, that's when he's enraged. He attacks faster. I think he hits harder. I know he's faster. That monster being faster is worse than a monster hitting harder, just so you know. They're a lot less predictable. And I don't necessarily... I do what's hunting off of instinct. I've played this game for long enough that I have hunter instincts. So I fight off of instinct, so it tells me I should roll now, and then I roll, and then it works out most of the time. Or I should block now. My hunter instincts for blocking are kind of crappy. I'm gonna have to learn my instincts for sheathing stance, for Valor style. I know when I can attack more often than not. I know when I can use an item depending on what monster I'm hunting, how far off I need to be, where I can hide. All kinds of handy stuff that you pick up along the way. And I feel like if you really want to get good at Monster Hunter, the best way is to just play it more and more and more and more. You will get better. But yeah. If you're ever thinking about picking up Monster Hunter, always start with the demos, because the demos give you a really good idea for the feel of the game. And if you suck at the demo, keep trying at it. Keep trying it. They typically give you an easy monster to hunt and then a harder monster to hunt. Keep trying until you can beat that easy monster, and then if you can, go for the harder one. Because what's going to happen is you're not going to be very good, like, very likely, right out the bat. You just got to keep going at it. You'll get better. You'll learn the monster's moves. You'll learn when and when not you can pull certain things off. And try out all the weapons as well. Don't just say, this weapon looks cool, I'm going to use this one exclusively. You'll probably end up falling into one weapon eventually, but you want to try them all out to get a good feel. That's my advisory for Monster Hunter. I'm gonna call it for this episode. I'm gonna do some off-camera grinding after this, or after I'm done editing. I will hopefully see you in the next one, and we can enjoy some good old monster hunting together.
Thanks everyone so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like to let me know, and subscribe if you'd like to see more. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video.